Hey everybody, this is TJR. Last week we saw the premiere of the new streaming service HBO Max. This included the premiere of the Looney Tunes cartoons Season 1. These are the brand new Looney Tune cartoon shorts that are exclusive to HBO Max. Season 1 features 10 episodes, each one roughly 12 to 13 minutes in length. These episodes contain two full-length classic Looney Tune short cartoons each, roughly about 6 minutes or so in length, which was about the length of the original classic cartoon shorts. In between each cartoon short is a Looney Tunes vignette. I would describe these as extremely short shorts, or as gags without a cartoon. And these vignettes are a side dish between courses. So what do these cartoons get right, and what do they get wrong? Overall, these cartoons work. They get mostly everything right, in my opinion, except for one thing, which I will get to. First of all, I can honestly say that these cartoons made me laugh out loud, which is what the classic shorts always did, and it's what these new cartoons needed to do also. When it comes to comedy in animation, for this type and style of cartoon humor, there are basically two main styles of payoff. Obvious setup followed by the unexpected, or the obvious payoff, but it's the tension of the buildup that makes it work. For too long, later iterations of these characters eschewed the comedy violence and outlandish wackiness of the originals, so it's good to see these new cartoons are embracing this head on. Now, it's been said that imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. The classic Looney Tunes had truly great directors working behind the scenes. Two of the most well-known directors and two of my personal favorites were Tex Avery and Chuck Jones. And even though both of these directors used the tropes of explosions and gunfire in their cartoons, their styles were completely different. Tex Avery was known for, among other things, wild takes or extreme exaggerations. Chuck Jones, however, was known for the use of subtle expressions. Just the lifting of an eyebrow or a side glance could be hysterical under his direction. These new cartoon shorts allow the best of both of these directors to serve as influence. Modern influences like director John Kay are obvious as well. And while we're on the subject of modern references are also abundant in these cartoons as well, but none of them feel shoehorned in for the sake of being there. I get that sometimes certain legacy characters need to be reinterpreted for a modern audience, but modern audiences can laugh just as easily at a cartoon like Rabbit Season as an audience from over 50 years ago could back in the day. I'm not against modern references or influences, but they are not mandatory, and they should only be used because it makes the cartoon funnier. Another thing that these cartoons get right is the classic art of physical comedy timing. Modern cartoons use dialogue-driven comedy over the old-school physical-style comedy of theatrical cartoons. One is not better than the other, but over the decades, this type of comedic timing has become a bit of a lost art when it comes to cartoons. The new Looney Tunes feature both classic physical cartoon timing along with dialogue-driven timing. I'm going to talk briefly about the music. The music is all in keeping with these original cartoon shorts, including the use of traditional classical music and traditional folk songs, which is fine. But there was one cartoon in particular that featured Beaky Buzzard, a favorite of mine, where Beaky becomes unexpectedly intense. It's completely out of left field, and it's hysterical for that reason. As I watched this scene, I couldn't help but feel that some grinding death metal music or something death metal influence could have made the scene even funnier. So once again, I have nothing against using modern influences, musical or otherwise, so long as it serves a purpose to make the cartoon funnier. Overall, I am pleased with these new cartoons, but there's one thing that bugs me. And sadly, it's bugs. For a long time, I have wanted to make a video that would have been entitled, Why We Love Bugs and Not Woody. There has always been a moral code to Bugs that I've always appreciated. He may give Elmer Fudd a hard time, but that's because Elmer is trying to kill him. Bugs has always been very live and let live until you decide to be a prime jerk to him. Then he's going to give it back to you in spades. Even when Tex Avery was directing him, Bugs usually had a good reason for giving Elmer hell. But when Chuck Jones took control of the character, he made that aspect of Bugs' character even more pronounced. Bugs would stick up for himself. Yes, he'd stand up to life's bullies. But under the direction of Chuck Jones, he'd also stick his neck out for the little guy that was being bullied. He'd help the helpless. And for you serious animation aficionados out there, yes, I know, there were a couple of cartoons where Bugs was completely out of character. Those cartoons were rare, and they always felt wrong. Woody, on the other hand, was just the characters that he's giving hell to have done nothing to him. He just decides to be a to them for no reason. So it's really disappointing to see Bugs behaving like Woody in so many of these new cartoons. In the short Big League Beast from episode 2, we see the return of the mad scientist and his monster Gossamer, who originally appeared in the 1946 and 1952 classic shorts Hair Raising Hare and Water, Water Every Hair, respectively. In both of these cartoons, the mad scientist lures Bugs into his castle because he wants to use Bugs Bunny in his mad experiments. So you have no problem with Bugs slinging his crap back at him. But in Big League Beast, Bugs just barges into the castle because he's lost his TV reception and figures he can watch the big game on their TV instead. They haven't done anything to him. He's just a big jerk to them. And naturally, of course, they're pissed at him for invading their space, as well they should be. The same holds true for another new short entitled Pool Bunny. During a heat wave, Bugs just barges into Elmer Fudd's desert home and invites himself to his pool. Elmer is not pleasant in response to Bugs, and he shouldn't be. Bugs has invaded his space, not the other way around. We're rooting for Elmer in this cartoon and not Bugs. But Bugs is a force of nature, and Elmer is a nervous wreck by the end of the episode, and it's all Bugs' fault. I haven't taken an exact count, but I'm betting that Bugs probably has the most appearances in all of these new shorts. And in most of them, he's portrayed as one of the few exceptions is in episode 7, and the short is entitled Siberian Sam. Here we get the classic Bugs Bunny, the one that we can root behind. Now, I'm not saying these cartoons weren't funny. They did have their funny moments, and I tried to not take them so seriously that I couldn't laugh at them. But in a broad comedy like this, someone who is morally wrong shouldn't be portrayed as the protagonist of the story versus the antagonist. Cartoons like this aren't just for kids. They're for everyone. But kids watch them too. And when you know that kids will be watching, I think it's important that you aren't making cartoons that say that completely asinine behavior is acceptable and should be rewarded. Call me old-fashioned if you want, but the classic cartoons portrayed Bugs Bunny as having a moral core without being preachy or cutting down on any of the explosions. This is my only real complaint with these new cartoons. This does not kill the show for me. And in spite of this criticism, I feel these cartoons are worth visiting and even revisiting. I am looking forward to season 2. I just hope that they pay more attention to getting Bugs right. So those are my thoughts. Have you checked out these new cartoons yet? What do you think? I'm curious to know. Looking forward to reading your comments. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you all stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye.